really exploit him a lot and he's really strong, but they feel that the overall level of Europe right now just shows in how people position, and that in North America they feel it's easier to exploit mistakes on the other team because positional mistakes are a little bit more common there. So that's one of the explanations that I at least have heard so far, and I guess it makes sense.
Well, we'll see if we'll get Garrosh at all here in Europe throughout this entire weekend.
It would be fun. I would at least
Yeah.
like to see him.
Would like to too. Team Good Guys thinking about their ban. So far, they continue to ban out Tassadar as much as they can. I think Tassadar is one of those heroes that you can get away with not banning it against Dignitas, so they don't feel like they run it as much as a lot of other teams, unless they want to run with that Tracer.
That's one case, yes. Tracer is definitely one of the heroes where you have to think about Tassadar. But in this map in general, he's just really good with all the AoE that you have available to you, with the Storm, with Vision, and then also Archon as well. So he enables so many heroes. I think you can risk it in this particular setup, but the one thing that I'm really more interested in than anything else when we are talking about bans and picks is I want to see the first pick on Good Guys. I want to see what they're going to try and do here.
Well, first ban is about to be leveled up as they have to.
Also, yeah, I'm like,
Just kidding.
I'm looking at this and I'm like, am I crazy? That doesn't make sense. Good Guys picked the map, so Dignitas has first pick, first ban. So that was, I think, a little bit of a misstep here, and I'm pretty sure that lobby is getting recreated as we speak.
Well, we're going to remake the lobby and then figure out our bans from there and what our first picks will be up. Last time we saw them play Garrosh, they picked up Garrosh in the first couple of slots. So if we do see it, it might be today. If not, there's always the standards that you see on Infernal Shrines. Gul'dan into Greymane, heroes that clear out the sides pretty well. Arthas is great. Sonya is someone that we've seen dabbled a little bit here from the Good Guys, being able to have that frontline warrior that engages and bruises your opponents down pretty heavily can be a solid pickup for your team.
Yeah, I am pretty sure that if allowed, Dignitas is going to pick up ETC and Dehaka again. Both, like we have seen a lot of Dehaka on the map, and if you go for Dehaka, you can run the mosh pit on ETC. As we said, normally when what we're seeing or when we see stage dive is usually when you split the two. When one team takes Dehaka early on, the second team wants to have a hero that can mimic Dehaka, and with your level 7 talent, the Echo Paddle on ETC, you all of a sudden gain a lot more wave clear. You can really be a nuisance to Dehaka in lane, and after you pick up your level 10 ability, you can also mirror his global. So that's one of the thought process of why we see the two of them going up against each other all of a sudden. You don't need to run ETC as your main tank with Mosh Pit. You now also have the option of running him as an off tank, which is what we've seen in the previous series with Team Liquid going up against Fnatic. So Abathur being banned again, but these two heroes, Dehaka and ETC, are definitely two that we have to watch out for here. That's why I'm curious to see how the Good Guys are now reacting in this draft.
Well, so far, pretty standard bans as of late from both of our teams, Abathur, Tassadar, and you call it ETC for the first pick.
And my question really is, are you going for Dehaka at this point? Because Dignitas finds themselves in a spot where they can still run ETC as the main tank and play Dehaka as the side laner if they get the chance to. And that all depends on whether the Good Guys are willing to commit to Dehaka now or not. But as we said before, them picking Dehaka first is not only Dehaka rising in priority, because very few other teams pick him first outside of Tomb of Spider Queen, but it's them valuing valuing Rhaegar so highly.
There it is, and it's not Dehaka. We're going to get Arthas instead.
So Dignitas now can take him. They don't have to, but immediately do. It's that side stock that we talked about. They have also the AoE on the Shrine, thanks to Dehaka. They have Greymane on top of that as well. He also can, of course, pressure Arthas heavily in those big fights with him spamming the Cursed Bullet out. And that already is, again, scary.
Yeah, it's already a huge indicator what Dignitas believes to be one of the best setups in the game right now. I mean, they instantly picked that Dehaka the moment they saw their opponents were not going to be able to grab it.
I don't like the Rhaegar first pick. I'm just saying it right there. Rhaegar is great. He offers a lot, and especially after other supports have been nerfed, he is a fantastic hero. That's not the point you argue. It's just like, does he really have the priority over ETC, over Dehaka, and other heroes that are being played here to take him? He has a lot of good arguments in his favor on this map, but is it really enough to put him into that position?
Does it give you enough of a foundation to warrant facing off against an ETC Dehaka? And what Caldor is saying is, nope, don't think so. Zul gets banned out. Now, Zul did receive a few nerfs. Nothing too crazy. Still a strong pickup, especially here in Infernal Shrines. We've seen it in the past from Tricked Esports. Team Good Guys has dabbled in it a long time ago, but the Zul ban is going to be one that we'll see here on Infernal Shrines.
Yeah, so they are already working a bit on making sure that the good guys are not completely out-rotating them with wave clear, which is important. It's already going to be rough for the good guys to do that in the first place, thanks to the setup that Dignitas is running. AoE on the Haka, ETC with potential for Echo Paddle, now that he's the main tank, a little bit less likely. Greymane at the same time now also. And we have, for the good guys, again, a double support, double warrior. Same warrior setup that they had on the last map, relying heavily on Arthas and Johanna.
This time, though, they have a second support here with the Brightwing being a little bit more global. They had the Oriole last time, so this time they're not going to be looking for a battery. Brightwing instead will be able to off-soak and help out with the Dahaka, come in for the fights when need be, maybe try to push the limits a little bit, and at least they have disengage. If an ETC comes in, and they think that the ETC came in with not coordination, drop the Emerald win.
And of course we see Uther. I mean, ETC and Uther worked really well in the last game. Why would you change that against basically the same setup? And on top of that, also a map that has amazing choke points. And then Menos is like, you know what? I played Gul'dan the last time. This time they ban him out. What other mages are there? I really like Kel'Thas. Let's play that boy.
KT.
I mean,
he's got to be happy, man. I mean, he's been having to play Oriole and Rhaegar in the past. Now he gets to play his two mages, two for two, with mage play. Cassia now on the right side here for Team Good Guys.
Yeah. Does that seem weird to you?
Yeah. First off, against KT, you're going to have a hard time. She normally, if you are facing off against Cassia, if you can get a mage, you can try to burn her down, at least become annoying enough due to her trait being good against physical damage, but not actually dealing with mage damage that comes your way. And second off, like, how do they force a fight for Cassia to be effective when ETC can peel off and Uther's there?
You wait for your level 10, move in from the side, hit a blessed shield, and follow up with a Howling Blast?
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard, but maybe they can pull it off. Crushinator, I could analyze the draft, or I could just notice that TGG has 2 Gs in their name and Dig only has 1 G. You have a point, Crushinator. You have a point.
I mean, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. Yeah?
Coming back to the draft. I'm really afraid for the good guys. That last pick, you go up against an ETC that is looking for that mosh pit. You're having a fun time right now.
I'm having a fun time. 2 Gs are better than 1, man. You nailed it.
All three, like 3 letters. Both of them.
Perfect. Done just like that. Back to the draft.
Yeah, you have an ETC that looks for the mosh pit. You have a Kel'Thas that is going to give the front line a hard time as is, thanks to the spread damage. Most of the fights are going to be around the shrines, which means that ETC has a very good chance of getting a good power slide and the mosh pit. We have seen in the last game how on point mosh pit and Divine Shield were. It's always just a question, does he get the slide in? And then also in the early game, I mean, look at what we are seeing. I talked in the previous series about Kel'Thas plus ETC. Right now, there we have it, with an Uther as well. So in the early game, if they rotate, you can get so many kills here if you play that right. If there's one player on the side of TGG that maybe moves out a little bit too far onto the lane, you will see a power slide, gravity lapse, follow up. Uther, if he's there, is going to add another stun. That's a dead hero right away. So the early game is already very dangerous for the good guys and strong for Dignitas. And then once the level 10s are into play, I would argue it doesn't get any better. So Cassia being played here, who has to get a little bit closer than poke heroes, I'm not so quite sure about that, if that's going to work out. I'm really interested to see if TG is somehow able to pull this off.
Well, we'll see if Cassia will pay off here for TGG. They are down 0-1 against Dignitas, and they're hoping to tie up the series as we move into Infernal Shrines.
Game number 2 in Infernal Shrines. We have Dignitas with the lead. Bakery again on Uther. We're seeing Mena this time on Kel'Thas, jumping on a different mage, as JPL with his ETC is going to look for the Divine Mosh Shield combo. Divine Shield Mosh combo with Uther. Of course, Azalea on the Haka here, and Snitch this time on Greymane.
On the right side, in the red, Team Good Guys. Anti-hero playing Arthas, BKB on Johanna, Raid Boss on Brightwing, Zay on Cassia, and Kronaz playing the Rhaegar. And Kaldor, are you ready for my wacky play to make this work here for Team Good Guys?
Okay, if you say...
You actually already know what it is, I know.
I do.
You have to know what it is. What's the wacky play here that gets you the victory against the Kel'Thas?
Immediately when you're saying Wacky, I say Valkyrie.
100%.
Okay.
It affects backline. Whoever is hit first gets pulled in. Pull up the Valkyrie, pull in the KT, drop down the Polymorph, have Arthas and Johanna step up, and you blow up that target and get a 5v4.
And in the meantime, Rhaegar's dancing in the background.
Yes, exactly. Slash dance is very important. After you drop down the Q and the W, you got to work it in and get it done in less than 4 frames. If you don't get the dance in, you lose the fight.
All right, I'm sold.
All right, let's see what's going to happen here. That's the only thing I can think of where Team Good Guys might have an odd way of forcing this fight here, but we'll see if it pays off here, because you have to kill that KT. If Manny's in the background being able to continue to siege upon, eventually he's going to get to a spot where he's clearing out the shrines, and he's also eventually breaking your opponents, especially after level 7.
Yeah, killing Mena, that is... I mean, if you can put the pressure on Mena, don't get me wrong, then you can definitely force some mistakes out of him, but we have seen in the last map that when he played Gul'dan, that was already quite tricky.
Yeah.
Now he has also disabled. There's a lot of tools that Dignitas has, but Good Guys might be able to make a play here. Valkyrie might be the tool. I would like that probably... I actually think I would probably like that more than anything else, to be honest with you. But let's see how this is going to work out. For now, we're having a bit of a passive stance from Dignitas, even though they have those additional lockdowns after ETC slide. And talking about ETC, mid lane, that's where we see a little bit of action against Johanna already. But so far, BKB hasn't really taken any damage. Antihero is also still waiting for his chance down at the bot lane. It's all about the wave clear right now, and both teams trying to get level 4 and wait for the next shrine.
Yeah, Brightwing facing off against Dahaka, she actually doesn't have incredible wave clear, so you can clear out that lane and then head to the middle and build up your essence stacks, which is what Dahaka did there. He's able to play a little bit greedy because of that Brightwing, and then he heads back to the top, clears out the lane, and still staying in a good spot against that experience. 4 about to hit for our teams, as shrines do activate toward the north here. Dahaka and Brightwing will scuffle over it for now, but Dahaka currently getting the upper hand with a 6-1.
Yeah, Dahaka is definitely winning that trade, so he's currently taking the lead in it. Needs to be a little bit careful that Brightwing doesn't steal too many of those away, but with Mena now rotating in, Raidboss already has to back off so that he doesn't get locked down by a drag, and Mena follows up with Gravity Lapse. Still, Snitch at the bot lane, so Dignitas is currently willing to just see what they can do up here, whereas Snitch is getting extra experience for the team. This is a very common strategy to let the first Punisher go over to your opponent while you are getting extra value on the opposite lane.
Yeah, there's some room for error with the composition that Team Good Guys has that Dignitas wants to avoid here. Arthas Johanna going into a fight, Cassia dropping down the charged strikes could be enough to get a kill or 2, which allow Good Guys to run pretty early here with a Punisher. Instead, they just elect to have Greymane in the bottom, working on a fort, which does force a rotation from Team Good Guys, and that's Brightwing right now.
Yeah, and let's not forget that Greymane is fantastic against structure, so he already put a lot of damage onto the bottom fort. And now with Zelia moving in, so both of the teams have now rotated their global heroes down to the bot lane so that they can still force a fight up top if need be. But you can already tell that this fort is likely to fall, and Dignitas has made this already worth it. They are losing out on the Punisher itself, but they should be able to burst it down after baiting it over the wall, which is, of course, the most important play for them now.
I like JPL coming in here. He was trying to bait out the charged strikes, and he does get it, which makes it a little bit harder for Team Good Guys to follow up this Punisher and force a fight right away. This will make it a little bit easier for them to turn around and just fully commit to the defense on the Punisher, and they're already doing so, chunking it down while JPL holds that back line away from his KT.
Yeah, JPL just making sure that nobody can engage too hard. The earlier level 7 helps them as well. Echo Paddle used for ETC, now he has a bit of additional wave clear. And things are so far looking decent for Dignitas. They got more out of this trade. They have the bottom fort a lot lower than their opponent, got the top. So things are currently working out in their favor, even though the Good Guys are, of course, still holding on both the teams on level 7 now.
And Dahaka, keeping up with the Rush Stalkers, is trying his best to get Brightwing out of position. He's able to head over to a bush, of course, and Brightwing has to face shift in on a target. So Brightwing having to travel all the way to the top allows for him to get a couple more minions of experience ahead. And you see in the experience bar, it's slight, but it's enough there. Zelia gets a top pushed in, and Team Dignitas will be moving towards 8. And they find a Johanna in the middle all by herself.
Yeah, and BKB, after using the Divine Shield, is very... Sorry, not the Divine Shield, the Iron Skin, very likely to drop and dies. It's just too much CC that we are seeing here. That is the main problem. But TGG used the time to push the bot lane. The problem is they did it a little bit too long. And look at that Gravity Lapse. Kronos is about to fall. It's the old combo where you slide with ETC and then Mena has an easy time following it up with his own CC. It was so powerful, especially last year in Sweden in 2016. It did so much work, and the combo dominated an entire tournament, and this is exactly why.
It's a bit weird seeing Kronos actually try to bite on top of that ETC before he had used any of his abilities, which set up that easier power slide. Team Good Guys could have maybe only lost one person there instead of two. Nonetheless, Team Good Guys going to be able to turn around. Oh, I'm sorry, they only did miss one. Arthas did get away, but still, it was kind of odd to see that big power slide into a Gravity Lapse that could have been avoided to keep Kronos alive.
Yeah, we have still, I mean, it's still not too bad. You have lost 2 heroes, you have taken a bit of damage on the structures. The Good Guys are not out of this just yet, so it's not as dominant in the early game as the last map was. Dignitas is now fighting for the second shrine though, for the Punisher, and keep in mind that they are closing in on the level 10 much faster than the Good Guys do. So likely that at least for now the Good Guys are not going to really commit to this. They want their level 10 and then they might go for the objective, but Dignitas is already taking the lead there.
Yeah, but with the objective spawning in the bottom, that's easily a fort if Team Dignitas is able to grab that Punisher, and then they can make a play for the fort in the middle or open up the keep wall. I would argue this is a point where Dignitas can really start to run with this game if Team Good Guys are unable to answer back. They get 10 themselves here, and now try to actually answer back as they head in with Arthas leading the charge.
Again, Divine Shield, and of course the Mosh Pit can be used here if need be. Here comes already the attack for Mena. Raid Boss goes in, and nice, well played by him with the Emerald Wind isolating the mage, but immediately Bakery is ready with the Divine Shield to make sure that Kel'Thas doesn't die. And now the fight resets with most of the ults already used, except for Rhaegar's Ancestral, and of course Mosh Pit for ETC.
That was a case of damage being low. Cassio was zoned out there as Zahaka and JPL did their best to be on that bottom side, make sure Cassio couldn't get near that squishy KT to focus him down. And now after all the heroics have been used, Team Dignitas come back in themselves to force a fight. Snitch is being locked down pretty darn well, but he's able to back on up as Zahaka keeps floating on the side. Team Good Guys, can they get this Punisher? 37-37, it's coming down the wire here. 39-37, and Team Good Guys are actually able to handle the Punisher and grab it.
Yeah, it was well done here. That was actually a cool move by them. And more so, it was really that early engagement that we saw here, with Raid Boss moving in and then just putting a wedge in between Team Dignitas. That's what forced the early Divine Shield. And what Dignitas was looking for the entire time was the Divine Shield Mosh Pit combo. But because Bakery had to save mana, they never could utilize that.
Punisher gets cleared up, but Team Good Guys making a case here to tie up the series against Dig as it continued to play very, very well around the shrine phases. Team Dignitas heads back to keeping up the experience lead as they go to the top side. They are grabbing the Mercenary on the bottom side, but they have to make a play for a fort at some point. The Team Good Guys already rotating in with Arthas wanting to move in for a Howling Blast. Luckily, Dignitas sees this in time and they back up.
Now, if the Good Guys can force out the Divine Shield in these fights so that it can't be used with Mosh Pit, that's great. But the problem still is that JPL is such a big threat to them. Since whenever he is able to fight on the shrine and get that one slide with the Divine Shield following up after he uses his own ult, that would instantly mean that the Good Guys are losing at least 2-3 heroes, especially of course with Mena now providing the AoE. So the Good Guys are definitely fighting back, and this is a lot closer so far, but the threat potential of Dignitas is just absolutely crazy. But I really like the engagement that we saw from the Good Guys. It's basically what we talked about when the game started, and with Brightwing now topping the Emerald Wind in to drive a wedge between Dignitas. If they can repeat that maneuver a couple of times, they might be able to get a kill.
That they could. They may have to use the other disadvantage though, as Dignitas is closing on level 13. Zelly even looking like he may want to fight Brightwing has made Raid Boss decide maybe backing up and not fighting here is a solid choice, while the middle lane does have a Johanna using Iron Skin. With 4 members here, JPL could elect to move in for a power slide and force something once that 13 does connect.
Yeah, 13 definitely going to hit a little bit earlier for them, and they might be trying to use that to their advantage with that small timing window that they have. And of course, it also means that we are now seeing on the side of Mene immediately going into the Living Bomb here. Pyromaniac, cooldown reduction, also incredibly powerful for him. And even the slow with the face melt now taken on the side of ETC. So that of course helps just control these fights a little bit more and keep everyone in Mene's AoE.
Slow needed against those melees to keep KT alive, as you were just mentioning there. Dignitas with a 13 will take their small advantage and work on a fort. They're actually setting up a trap here on the right side. Will Team Good Guys get caught? JPL does see Arthas and Johanna sneak by, but realize nothing too much for them to grab. They go ahead and just grab the minions instead and threaten to keep wall while Dahaka works on top.
They really use their global now, and that's absolutely fantastic from their end. So they could actually try to just push this in a little bit more. This is all about vision. This is why Dignitas hesitated for a moment. They didn't see anyone on the map, but now with the rest of Team Good Guys showing up at the top, they immediately continue the push at the bot lane. And you can see how fast this wall is falling. So there needs to be a reaction from the Good Guys. That's what we're seeing right now. Everybody is moving back. The wall is breached, and that currently only leaves Arthur's up at the top lane on the Shrine. But they are just continuing forward. They can always use the Haka's global to move back down.
And with the Phoenix being utilized, this keeps that choke from being used for Team Good Guys, which forces JPL on the left side and keeps Team Good Guys back. With Phoenix expiring, they pull away, and they should be good to go. Now, they are losing out on the Punisher, 26-7, as Arthas is clearing that pretty darn quickly. Dignitas is looking for a fight, but Team Good Guys is doing a great job of splitting and making sure not to put themselves in a spot where Brightwing or Rhaegar get caught, which are the main primary targets for Dig.
Dignitas would have loved to force a fight here and move the Haka in for a 5 versus 4. And they're continuing the pressure play. They're just simply pushing in further towards the keep now, and they can always easily move back. ETC gives them so much safety on the retreat here with a face melt. It is actually crazy. And now the Punisher is pushing, but it's very much alone up at the top. JPL once again slowing everyone down. Again, remember the level 13 talent, face melt, making sure that he slows them also. And that allows them to easily move back. Now the Punisher is of course going to get some value, there's no doubt about that, but it's not going to be enough, especially with Anti-Hero locked completely and taking down too much CC, and it's mush pit time.
Came in for a big flank, does not work out, but Johanna gets burned down by Dignitas. Blessed Shield was actually utilized to try and kill ETC, but he was by himself. A bit of an interesting engage there from Team Good Guys, and they pay for it heavily as Arthas comes in for the flank and gets isolated.
It's time to dance, baby. ETC goes in, drops the Mosh, and now with 2 kills accomplished, they're simply moving for the keep. The Punisher is about to fall. The Good Guys took down the fort at the top lane thanks to the objective. But that's, of course, a trade heavily in favor of Dignitas as they are moving to the bottom lane.
And there's a keep. There it is. And now Dignitas, all they have to do is back away safely. You're watching JPL as he anchors his team. Snitch and Baker will be able to mount up and get out. There it is. Easily executed by Dignitas. Very textbook. And Dahaka just goes top lane and clears the experience and the wave.
Yeah, so there's 2 aspects really that absolutely shine when we're looking at how Dignitas plays this over the Good Guys. First of all, their approach to the map. Keeping the global top lane, pushing through the bot lane, just using the map as best as you can to get an advantage and forcing your opponent to really awkward splits. And then the teamfight coordination with all the CC that is available on the side of Dignitas. The Good Guys have a fair share as well, but just can't compete. Here, again, the combo. Stun into Gravity Labs. A lot of potential of damage here from Cassia, but we have them moving away, and ETC's safety is just too much. Again, Anti-Hero being attacked, even the Ancestral being dropped as TGG realizes they are having a tank in trouble.
They may have caught a snitch, so Divine Shield comes out, he's able to back away. Good Blessed Shield and decent engagement from Team Good Guys, but being at a talent disadvantage and Uther being in a great spot, Bakery just bringing up those heals allowed for JPL to back up. Dahaka came in for the perfect drag. And Team Dignitas gets the escape right away. Team Good Guys, I like what they were trying to do there. Just did not pan out the way they wanted it to.
Yeah, they sacrificed the Divine Shield, Dignitas that is, but it was also after Ancestor was used by the Good Guys. So Rhaegar and nearly everyone else on that lineup committed to their heroic ability, and they didn't get too much yet. Keep in mind that this was also a fight that was a bit awkward for TGG since they didn't have their 16 talents just yet, which is of course pretty huge. But now we're talking about another Shrine activating, and we have another 50 seconds until both supports have their heroic ability back. So at least TGG can fight on even talents now, but the global, of course, is another issue. The Haka is already starting to move down to the bot lane. He's going to try and push catapults towards the core.
Which becomes scary. Now Dignitas is in a spot where they just control this entire fight, control the entire area. All they need to do is not get caught, but Anti and BKB are looking to catch an ETC. He's going to use Power Slide to make sure he gets away, and Dahaka now goes to town on that bottom lane.
Exactly, and he can clear an additional wave once they realize that everyone is committed to that Shrine, and then make his way over. And you could already see that this is happening. The Haka moves into a brush, gets the movement speed, and then moves towards the core. First of all, that hides him from vision, it gives him the movement speed, and he can clear the additional wave. And that's 2-3 catapults already committed to core damage. Top wave is also getting some value, and still in the meantime they're fighting here. And at some point the Good Guys, I mean, they have to react here.
Yep, Dignitas is just dancing around. They're not really trying to force a win on this shrine. They're buying time for Dahaka and trying to make sure that Team Good Guys doesn't clear it fast enough. And Team Good Guys are doing okay. 32 to 13. Brightwing goes back to defend the Dahaka, which could indicate Dahaka goes in for the fight if they want to call it now. But if they're going to go for the fight, they have to do it right now. They're deciding not to. They're going to go ahead and give away the Punisher while the Catapult gets a decent amount of damage on the core. It chunks it down to 92%, now 89. So Team Good Guys will have 11% shade off their core.
And also, we're moving closer to level 20 with a 3-level lead for Team Dignitas. So yes, they lose something here with a Punisher in the middle and might lose the fort, maybe even more. But they get massive value out of it still, and that's worth it. They took the fort out at the top lane thanks to the camp they took earlier. So for the good guys, it's really just trying to... They don't even lose the fort here, Dignitas, that is. Half a level from 20. The Haka alone is just having such a huge impact. Brightwing is just not able to add the same amount of wave clear when we're coming to those 1-versus-1 situations between the two of them.
Yeah, she'll hold the lane and give you experience, but she will not push back whatsoever in that tug of war. Dahaka wins it heavily. And Team Dignitas, they are winning everything in this map except for the shrines, but they don't mind. Their shrine clear is wonderful. The Phoenix DPS is just enough. Greymane shelling away on the side. They've kept themselves in a great spot. I mean, look at the mini-map. They've only lost health on their fort in the middle and the fort in the bottom.
I mean, they give the shrines up. It's not like they're completely committed to it or anything. But for now, this is the 20 talent that we talked about, and this is the moment where the good guys are starting to fight. Questioning that a little bit, but the Divine Shield had to be used on ETC. Arthas is down already, and we still have stuns available as Bakery moves in. Where's the Gravity Labs follow-up on cooldown as we speak, but the Phoenix comes into play already. Ancestral being used. JPL once more with a face melt, and that's the end of Cassia. Pushed back and slowed down as Dignitas moves straight through the middle of the map to drop a second keep.
Gotta love Mane on top of that kill toss, dropping down the Flame Strike behind the Cassia. Now, it didn't do any damage, but it keeps Cassia stuck in a locked area, so Uther can get his stun back up. They turn around and get the kill. JPL dropping the Mosh Pit on top of Rhaegar, and if they can get this kill too, there's a total of 4 members taken out. Team Good Guys will now have to defend their core with a Johanna and an Arctic spawning in 8 seconds, while Dignitas, having all 5 members here, look towards the core and start applying damage.
Dignitas going straight for it. The shield is down. They're taking the core apart. And with Arthas and Johanna back, there's just not enough damage to stop them. Dignitas takes the second game and starts the lead with 2-0 in this best of 5.
Wanted Dignitas to come out here on this Friday and look dominant against Team Good Guys, and so far they have done so. Looking forward towards that HGC Finals and that BlizzCon. They have to get these victories that are very important for them, and so far they're doing great against the Good Guys, but they need one more here before they walk away with the win.
But they're playing a really good style here. Good Guys gave them a little bit more trouble in that second game than they did in the first. But overall, when you just see how they played, it was team fight coordination, especially in the first match. And now in the second map, a lot of a global macro approach. And it works really well for Dignitas. So they look extremely strong here. And it's not going to make it easy for TGG to at least win a map, which would, of course, be the goal now for the Good Guys.
Well,